So there you are. My information was indeed correct. Why the look of surprise? Surely, you should have been expecting one such as me to seek you out eventually. As you well know, there is a bounty on your head, and I am here to collect it. No, do not attempt to stall by playing the innocent victim. I will have none of it. Ready your weapon, if you will. Defend yourself.
This is the part where you fall down and bleed to death! Won't you?
Damn! I cannot defeat you! Curse my weary body to the hells of Oblivion! Once, there was a time where none could stand before me, and my name was famous throughout the lands. Once, I was a hero. I was unequaled, undefeatable, unstoppable. Now, though, now I am nothing but an old man unable to even claim a single bounty.
The old man before you suddenly appears battered and broken. His eyes grow distressed, his brow heavy, and his face lined with despair.
In truth, there is no bounty upon your head for me to collect. That was merely a deception on my part. No, I challenged you simply because of the fact that I've heard of your great reputation, and wanted to compare myself to you. As I said before, once I was a legendary hero of seemingly unstoppable power. My foes fell before me like wheat to the farmer's scythe. I saved Tamriel on a number of occasions. I was ordained a champion by the lords of the different towns. Yet now I have fallen victim to the curse of time, and have grown old and weak. I have become pitiful. I was Sir Edward Pellew, once a champion of Tamriel and slayer of the great fiend Curl. Now, though, I am merely an old man who shares a name with a heroic character from children's stories. Broken and destroyed by the curse of time, and weathered like a rock in the sea, into the wreck you see before you now.
Edward Pellew sighs forcefully, his eyes growing distant as if recalling a memory from the past.
Yet as I remember it, even at the height of my power, I still could not even have come close to what you are now. By comparison, I was nothing, and yet at the time I was everything.
Edward Pellew's eyes grow wild, and he is literally quivering with exasperation.
Yet, how is it possible? How is it that any one creature should grow so powerful amongst all of those striving to achieve that goal? Why is it that earls, counts, lords, and kings listen when you speak, and heed your words as if they were instructions? Why is it that all of Tamriel could be yours, if you so chose it to be? Have you ever considered this? Have you ever wondered how it is that you have gained this unforetold power? Or why, of all the thousands and thousands of creatures on Tamriel, it is you who have become so much more than what you started as?
Edward Pellew glares at you accusingly, his white hair flailing around his unkempt and disheveled face.
You haven't, have you? You have considered it, yet you have not solved the riddle that it poses, have you? Death follows you wherever it is that you go. I know this, as I've been keeping track of you for quite some time now. And yet, even as you wade through the masses of the dying, you think very little of how you achieved that end. You are merely an artist who specializes in death, preparing to paint his masterpiece. Indeed, greatness is a part of you. But what of your origins, hero? Where are you from? To what bloodline do you owe the blessing of your great abilities? Can you answer these questions?
Edward Pellew shakes his head at you in pure amazement.
Then perhaps you should study the foundations, as you have already prepared the groundwork, and are even now moving on to the parapets. Discover your roots, so that you may better understand the gift that you have been given. Face your mortality before it comes to claim you, as it has come to claim me. Track down your ancestry before you proclaim yourself a hero.
Edward Pellew bows his head, signaling his submission to you.
And now, do with me as you will. Thank you. Rest assured, you will not regret your decision.
Edward Pellew moves to take his leave.
Good day to you. I'm Phineas, the proprietor of the first edition. What can I do for you? Why, yes, I do, in fact, though I'm not too sure if it's exactly what you are after. It's a book on children's tales that feature Edward Pellew as the lead character. I can let you have it for a mere 50 gold. Very good. Here is your book. If ever you need another book in the future, you know where to find it.
The Imperial Registrar looks at you with a distinct sense of irritation.
Yes, citizen. What is it that you want? By the nine hells. Why is it always when I'm off duty that the populace decides to bother me? Very well then. Give me a moment to see what information I can find on your relatives. Stay right here. I'll be back in a moment.
The Registrar returns, clutching a large brown book, and spends a few minutes leafing through it.
Now this is indeed strange. So strange that I cannot recall ever having seen it before. Well, despite all the information you have given me regarding your identification, I can find no trace of your ancestors in our record books. Rest assured, I have made no mistake. Yet while it is obvious that you exist, your ancestry within the bounds of Imperial Dominion does not. Thus I am afraid that I can be of no real help to you. That means that either your ancestry is foreign to Tamriel, though from your appearance I very much doubt that to be the case. Or alternatively, as I said before, your ancestry lies somewhere outside of the bounds of Imperial Dominion. Likely in one of the remote areas in which we have not had the time to perform a census. The only thing that I can suggest would be to refer to any objects linking back to your ancestors, and look for a clue there. Since you are here asking me these questions, I'm going to assume that you are the only member of your family line alive at the moment. But perhaps there is some trinket, some family heirloom that will provide you with the information that you seek. Follow the clues that it provides, and you may yet find your identity. And now, if you don't mind, leave me alone so that I can make the most of my time off duty.
Surprised to see me? Well, you shouldn't be. Since you were so good as to spare my life, I have been watching out for you of late. I have noticed that you have encountered a problem in the search for your ancestry, and I believe that I may be able to provide the solution.
Edward Pellew waves his hand dismissively, ignoring your words.
I have a brief story to tell, if you don't mind. A story from my past, which will perhaps provide more weight than mere words possibly could. I once knew a Nord from one of the remote regions of Tamriel, who was cursed with the same problem that you are. He could find no ties to his ancestry. He spent countless years searching, and was met time and time again with dismal and complete failure. In short, he was just about out of options. Yet as it turned out, while taking to the bed with a lass he met in the local tavern, she pointed out to him a strange mark on the arch of his back. After careful inspection, he realized that it was a scar caused by a signet ring, which had been burned into his skin by his parents years ago. Further study revealed that the mark was a telltale sign of his ancestors' noble lineage, and so at last, his search for who he was had ended. I'm sure that you can see the point I'm making. If that is what you want, I can do you this one last favor. Hold still. No doubt this will be awkward for both of us.
Several long and rather awkward minutes are spent while Edward Pellew studies your body for any abnormal signs or markings. After what seems like an eternity, you have begun to give up hope. Yet, as Pellew is examining the arch on your right foot, he shouts in triumph.
Yes, here is something strange. This might be exactly what we are looking for. A series of scars on your right foot that seem to form several shapes. Well, I'm no expert in such things, yet I would guess that they are a strange form of the runic script, perhaps of the Marcomannic variety. I cannot tell you what they say, yet I will scribe them on a piece of parchment for you, and you can find someone to decipher them.
Pellew spends a few moments carefully copying the markings on your foot onto a piece of parchment.
There. It is done. Now perhaps you will have an answer to the question of your ancestry. At the very least, you will have another piece to the puzzle. I have heard tell of a professor of religious symbology that studies at the Arcane University in the Imperial City. Perhaps you should inquire there. And for now, farewell.
Well met, Gilmate.
What is it, associate?
How are you today?
Yes? You want something of me? Ah, yes. What have we here?
The professor studies the piece of parchment with a certain kind of professional curiosity.
A variety of the Marco-Manic form of the runic alphabet, I'd say. Very rare nowadays, yet extremely common in years past. Where, pray tell, did you find this?
The professor scowls at you, obviously disappointed at having his question ignored, yet after a moment's hesitation he speaks again.
The Marco-Manic alphabet is not complicated to translate, being comprised primarily of a variety of two of the more common runic scripts. Each of these symbols represents certain sounds in the Marco-Manic runic tongue, which translate to form words. Let me see. Ah, yes, a very simple word. It reads Ehothorn. I have no idea what that means, though. Perhaps it is a name of a person or a place. You are more than welcome. Any opportunity to demonstrate my knowledge of ancient scripts is a blessing to me. Take care.
Fantastic. Why do you bother?
The Imperial Registrar sighs forcibly, obviously not impressed to see you.
Back again, I see. And from the excited look on your face, I'd say that you've discovered a piece of information with ties to your ancestry. It's a good thing that I kept the registry book handy, as I anticipated your return. All right, then. Let's have it. What is the name? Ehothorn. Ehothorn. Now that is a name that I am sure I have heard before. Please allow me a moment to consult my records. Ehothorn. 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 Ah, here we are. Ehothorn. Eothorn appears to be a family name of moderately noble ties who keep their estate on the outskirts of Cheydinhall. My records indicate that there is only one surviving record, a young woman by the name of Alicia Eothorn. Her last known location is also reported to be Cheydinhall, and she is reported to be administering her family's estate. Is that everything that you needed to know? Well, at least now you know where to start looking. Now, if you don't mind, leave me alone to enjoy my break.
Oh, there you are. I don't...
Oh, good day to you, stranger. What'll your poison be?
bartender chuckles at that.
These days, it seems that the thirst for a cold beer is quickly drenched, yet those with a palate thirsty for information often go wanting. Tell me what you want to know, and I'll see if I can help. The Ehothorn family, eh? I'll never understand the sporadic interest that arises around that family every now and then. 1 minute folks like you, from the Imperial Registrar, are happy to pretend they don't exist within the bounds of Imperial dominion. The next, it seems that you can't get enough of them. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to answer all of your questions, but I'll see what I can do. Ah, a kind lass, but a recluse by nature. She keeps to herself most of the time, and though she is always polite, she seldom says much. She is a mage, reputed to be of no small talent, though I will admit that I am yet to see any true evidence of that. She bears a remarkable resemblance to her mother, who in turn resembled her mother. One of the traits of that family is that their features breed true. Other than that, I can't say much more that would be of any real help to you. Well, the family has been around the Cheydinhall area for centuries, yet they are decidedly unremarkable as far as noble families go. To my knowledge, they have never been involved in local scandals or gained fame through any of their actions. Yet strangely, there seems to only ever be 1 or 2 members of the family alive at any one time. And on top of that, only 1 member of the family is ever seen in public at any one time. Perhaps they are under an ancient curse or some such, as each of their family's members falls victim to some tragedy early in life. Another strange thing is the fact that the women of the line seem to be cursed to bear only daughters. In fact, I can't remember a time when a male occupied the Ehothorn estate. I hope that answers your questions. Not that I can think of, no. And there isn't anyone else around town, short of Alicia Ehothorn herself, who could tell you more about the family. But perhaps there is another alternative. Behind the Ehothorn estate is the entrance to the family crypt. At the crypt there is an inscription that tells of the various members of the Ehothorn family and a little about their exploits. Perhaps you can find what you seek there. Good luck with your search.
You want... I thought... Of course.
You? What are you doing here? How is it that you survived? I had thought you had died. I saw you die, and yet you are here, This is no time for games. You, of all people, should know that I have never been overly fond of them. You must tell me how it is that you survived. Nobody, not even one such as you, should have been able to survive that inferno.
Alicia Ahowthorne shakes her head and squints as if struggling to break free of a dream.
You are not... No, I see now that I was indeed mistaken. You are not who I thought you were, though the similarities are astonishing, to be sure. I do apologize for my rudeness. Be assured that I did not intend to offend you in such a way. A friend of mine, a friend who died a very, very long time ago. He was a great deal like you, in both appearance and in voice. Yet upon closer reflection, I see that you are not my friend. The revelation is somewhat distressing. Removing the veil from one's eyes and exposing the plain truth before them is often less satisfying than living the dream. He died in a most horrible manner. It is a topic I would prefer not to discuss. Suffice to say that his death was not earned. And I have mourned his loss ever since. In truth, I have been searching for him ever since his demise. I am the sort of creature that can only believe what my eyes show me. And as I never saw the remains of his battered body, my mind has always rejected his death. I think that I will perhaps search for him forevermore. Ah, yes. The bartender over at the Bridge Inn informed me of a stranger in Cheydinhall asking about me. From the look in your eyes, I imagine that you are not a member of the Imperial Registrar, so you must be here for reasons of your own. Perhaps you have come to realize that certain facts about the Ahowthorne family do not add up. So tell me, stranger, have you learned the secret of the Ahowthorne family?
Alicia Ahowthorne smiles at you slyly, her dark eyes twinkling in the dim light.
Go on. You are doing quite well so far.
Her smile broadens, seeming almost to consume her entire face as she erupts into pearls of laughter.
Congratulations, stranger. In next to no time, you have discovered what no one else has managed to. Yes, you are correct. I am the only Ahowthorne, and in order to conceal my true age, I kill off my different personalities from time to time. That way, the folk of Cheydinhall do not become suspicious of the family, and I have a reason to remain out of the public eye. At any rate, now that you have this information, what are you planning to do with it? Perhaps you should tell me why you are here.
Over the course of the following hour, Alicia Ahowthorne listens tirelessly to your story, seemingly enraptured by your every word. When at last you finish, she smiles somewhat wistfully at you and offers you a consoling embrace.
I am pleased that you trusted me enough to tell me your tale. It is an intriguing tale, to say the least. I presume, then, that you are here because you are hoping that I may be able to provide some links to your ancestry. Well, at first thought I can think of nothing that will be of any real use to you. And yet it seems to be too much of a coincidence that you just happen to share so many similarities with my deceased friend. Perhaps the runic markings on your body told you to seek me out because of that fact. Perhaps it is through learning more of my friend that you can learn more of yourself and your ancestry. What do you think? Indeed it is. Well, now that we both know one another's deadly little secret, perhaps we should make a pact. Let the two of us work together in order to find the answer to your ancestry. And in return, you will promise to keep what you know of the Ahethorn family a secret. So, what do you say? Do we have an accord? Excellent. Most excellent. I am indeed glad that we have come to an agreement. I foresee interesting times ahead of us, and the answers to all your questions will surely be revealed in due time. As to our next step, well, I have a good idea for our starting point. We should go to the place in which my friend perished, for if we will find a clue anywhere, it will be there. We will be headed to the burnt remains of our former estate, located in a place not too far from here.
Suddenly you feel yourself growing faint as your vision begins to swim and the world around you distorts and changes.
By all the fires in the abyss, at last I have found you. I had to come. The half-blood and the hunter are close to tracking you down. I just saw them in the village asking questions about you. They will be here soon. We need to leave now. Leave your work. We can come back later to collect it when we know that it is safe. Do not take the risk. You know that the half-blood has the means with which to destroy you. Come on, let's go.
You notice that Alesia is looking at you in a concerned manner.
Are you all right? You seem to drift off there for a while, almost as if you were asleep.
Alesia eyes you speculatively, as if she does not entirely believe your words.
Well, if you say so. As I was saying, I have a horse at the local stable. We could head there to collect it, and then proceed on to the ruined estate. Are you ready to leave, or do you need a little time? Very well then. I'll lead the way. You follow. Stay close to me, and if we are attacked, let us work together to stay alive. Let's get going. Well, this is it. The charred remains of a place that I once called my home. The former Ahethorn Manor in all its blackened glory.
Alesia Ahethorn appears to be somewhat miserable at the sight of the ruined house.
I'm not exactly sure what it is that you expect to find here. Yet I cannot think of anywhere else that we might look.
Her words fade into dejected, confused silence, and she seems to be expending a great deal of effort in order to avoid looking at you.
Yes, I am all right. Thank you for asking. My memories of this place, though pleasant at times, are overshadowed by the tragedy that befell here. It was here that I lost a friend who was very dear to my heart. Well, you see.
Alesia pauses to find her tongue and to compose herself before continuing.
My friend was a powerful individual, and as I'm sure you know, powerful creatures always seem to find powerful enemies. My friend had no shortage of enemies of that ilk, yet he cast them aside, as if they were nothing. He was confident, perhaps too confident. He thought himself unstoppable, and as it turns out, he was wrong. One of those enemies tracked him down to this place, and when my friend barricaded himself inside in an attempt to call forth his latent powers, his enemy set fire to the building and watched it, and my friend burned to the ground. I had left scarcely an hour before, hoping to intercept his enemies before they could make it to the estate, and serve as a distraction while my friend made good his escape. Yet, they easily outmaneuvered me and snuck by my flanks to make their move on my friend, while I was not around to aid him. I remember glancing back and seeing a column of thick, black, oily smoke rising high into the sky. I remember the feeling of absolute terror that gripped my heart as I realized what the smoke signified.
She shivers and her eyes grow distant, as if lost in a memory from the past.
I would prefer not to discuss it for the meantime. Perhaps at a later date. Very well. Just be careful. Though nothing lives here anymore, this place is not without its dangers.
Suddenly, the world around you fades from view, and you feel dizzy and lethargic as the realms of your subconscious sweep over you.
Come on out and face your destiny. Don't you be hiding in there.
Your vision clears, and you suddenly find yourself facing Alicia, who is shaking you violently, her face a mask of concern.
I apologize for shaking you, but I was concerned for your well-being. Your eyes were empty and glazed over, and your face was as ashes. For a moment I had thought that you had died right in front of me. And yet you are all right now, and bearing no trace of your brief illness. Pray tell, what ails you? A dream? Or a memory, perhaps? Maybe finding me is triggering certain forgotten memories within you. Perhaps that is why the scar on your foot bore my name. Perhaps it is through knowing me that you will know yourself. At any rate, we can discuss it later. For now, we should do what we came here to do, and leave as soon as possible. We should search the buildings and try and find anything that might serve as a clue to your ancestry.
You notice Alicia looking with unconcealed interest at the book and the ancient tablet that you are holding.
I remember that book. It was the one that my friend was searching for when last I left the estate. It must be extremely important, since he was willing to throw away his life in an attempt to find it. Had he left with me, he would probably be alive. Yet he stayed behind in order to find that book. The book is a translation for what is on that tablet, though from the looks of things I would say that the book is damaged beyond repair. The tablet was taken from a mine somewhere, though I cannot remember the precise location. Perhaps an archaeologist may be able to identify the mine from which the tablet is taken.
Alicia considers the question at length, and then a slow, excited smile creeps across her face.
Now that you mention it, I do know of a troop of archaeologists and historians who were passing through Cheydinhall recently. From what the bartender at the Bridge Inn told me, they were stopping by for supplies, en route to a newly discovered dig site elsewhere. If you were to show that tablet to the archaeologists, they might be able to identify where it came from.
Show me what you've got. Oh, I'm on your side.
Quickly, lead us back to Cheydinhall. We need to speak to the archaeologists before they leave the city.
Why do you bother me? Go away. Hello. I hope that you have a really, really good reason for disturbing me. One such as you cannot fathom the importance of my work, else you would not disrupt me from it by interrupting me. Can I look at it? Well, I can look at it to be sure, but will I look at it? That is another question entirely.
Even as he speaks, the archaeologist's eyes drift to the ancient tablet in your hand, and his face pales noticeably.
Where did you get that tablet? Astounding. Absolutely astounding. Surely this has to be something more than a mere coincidence. And yet, this tablet you hold in your hand bears an inscription written in the same language as all objects excavated from the site we are traveling to now. It is an ancient and almost unknown language, with only a few articles bearing similar inscriptions in our possession at the moment. Surely it is a simple coincidence that another one emerges at this time.
The archaeologist chuckles at your request, as if the answer should be obvious.
Of course I can't. We archaeologists cannot simply go around revealing the locations of various important dig sites to anyone who passes by. No, I'm afraid that telling you about the dig site is quite impossible.
Suddenly his eyes grow narrow, and he glances at you shrewdly.
Well, that is unless. If you were to give me the tablet that you have there, I might be able to arrange for you to accompany our expedition as a civilian observer. Since you would be traveling with us, I doubt that you would be able to cause any harm to our excavation. So, there is the deal. Trade the tablet in your possession for the right to attend the dig with us. What do you say? Suit yourself. But bear in mind, without my assistance, you are not going to find the location of the mine.
We need to get that map. Perhaps there is some other way that we can get it.
What is it? Well met.
Are you growing excited? We are slowly but surely closing in on the last clues to your ancestry. I cannot help but feel that the end is drawing near. This looks like the cave that the archaeologists are going to be excavating soon. If the information you obtained is correct, we should find some similar runes to the ones on your body, and in my friend's book. With the help of the translations in the book, we should be able to translate some of the runes. And perhaps from there, we will be able to determine our next step. We should hurry, though. Once the archaeologists get here, we will either be forced to leave or have to evict them by force.
Alicia stops you before you can enter the next section of the tunnels, her face betraying her weariness.
I confess, it has been a long time since I have traveled so much in so short a period of time. I am ill-accustomed to it. Perhaps I will just wait here and prepare a campsite for the two of us. You continue ahead and scout out the site. We should hurry, though. Once the archaeologists get here, we will either be forced to leave or have to evict them by force. Oh, I always do. And I thank you for your concern.
Almost before you have turned to take your leave, Alicia collapses to the ground, exhausted.
I'll stay here and set up base camp.
My pleasure, really.
Alicia looks at you thoughtfully, her emerald green eyes sparkling mysteriously.
I may be mistaken, yet I would swear by the various gods that you have a question residing on the tip of your tongue. A question that you are dying to ask me, yet you are afraid to ask it. Well, speak up. We need to do something to cross this rift of awkwardness between us, and conversation is the best method. Why, indeed. Now I'm afraid that that is a question that I cannot really answer. Not because I am trying to hide anything, but simply because I do not know why I am eager to help you. Tell me, from what you know of me thus far, why do you think I am eager to help you? Of course, the most obvious and, admittedly, quite likely answer to the question. Naturally, I am interested as to the reason why you remind me of my friend, and I know that by helping you I can find closure in that regard. But there is more to it than that. I am also here because I am genuinely concerned, and the hunt for your ancestry intrigues me. And admittedly, because I miss socializing with people, my years of self-imposed isolation, in order to hide my longevity, has left me lonely. So now you see why I could not simply answer your question, because there is no clear-cut, obvious answer. What do I think is going to happen? Well, personally, I think that it is quite likely that we will find what you seek. Yet you will not like the answer. Since my time here in Tamriel, I have learned one thing about the mortal species as a whole. What sets the mortal mind apart is not its ability to comprehend the world around it, but its inability to correlate all its contents. For if the average mind were opened up to the terrifying vistas of reality, it would doubtless be pushed beyond breaking point. I think that what you may learn may force your concepts of reality across that breaking point, and from there, only your integrity will save you.
Suddenly, her tone lightens, and she smiles cheerfully at you.
Or perhaps I am merely in a pessimistic mood today, and in all reality, you will find what you seek, and nothing will go wrong. I think that that question is one that should be directed at you, since I imagine that it will be you who will determine any answer I would give. Yet, what I think is most likely to happen is that you will find the answer you seek. You will then find the answer unsatisfying, and you will then blame me for that fact.
Alicia winces as she speaks, and you suspect that she has revealed more than she meant to in those words. Alicia sighs, averting her eyes in order to avoid looking at you.
Why would you blame me? Because it is the nature of your species to blame someone other than yourself when things do not go your way. I believe that the answer you find will be unsatisfying for one reason or another, and you will find reason to attribute that to me.
From the awkwardness in her voice, you are almost positive that Alicia is lying, and as she casts nervous glances at you, you become certain of it.
I don't want to discuss this anymore. Let's get moving. Back again so soon. At any rate, I would like to I had forgotten how big the world outside of Cheydinhal and the Ahothorn estate really is. It is strange to me. In the past, I was fiercely independent, and proud of my independence. I enjoyed the company of others, yet I needed no one. Now, though, well, I guess that things change, and such change is unavoidable. Yet I am having trouble adapting to that change. I don't like the thought of having to rely on others in order to perform such simple tasks.
Alicia smiles at you gratefully, and your mood brightens instantaneously.
Well, I'm glad that we got that out of the way. It has been bothering me since you left, and I was worried about broaching the subject with you. So, how did... Interesting. The entire composition of this mine seems to be made up of ruined buildings of a cyclopean architecture buried beneath the ground. Once, all of this was a city, and from what we have seen, I would presume to say that once it was a truly majestic place. Now, though, now it is merely ruins. Something terrible happened here long ago.
Alicia shrugs, a slight smile gracing her features for but a fraction of a second.
Well, both you and I need rest, and as I'm sure you can see, I have prepared a rudimentary camp for the two of us. For now, I suggest that we sleep. Tomorrow, we'll see if we can acquire some mining equipment with which to continue our exploration. For now, sleep.